You never know what Neil is going to throw your way. And it's always in a good way. Thank you, Neil, for that kind introduction, and also for bringing us all together for, I guess, this first annual Heroes Recognition Ceremony. And it couldn't come at a better time, because we have things going on in this city, in this country, where, you know, we're still reeling from the effects of what is probably the deepest recession since the Great Depression. And yet, there are some people in government, whether it be in Wisconsin or even right here in New York, that would somehow pin the blame of the economy or the economic difficulties on working men and women, who had absolutely nothing to do with the financial collapse that occurred in 2008, or their government, particularly federal policies from the Bush administration that led to some of the very difficult economic turmoil that we're facing today. And so it's important to recognize those who have been on the front lines, the heroes that really have made such an incredible impact here in New York City and beyond. And we know where we have to go. A couple of weeks ago, my office released a detailed report that looked at income inequality, looked at what we have long suspected, looked at what the Occupy movement students and reformers were calling for. Something that we kind of knew, that the gap was widening and widening very quickly between the haves and have-nots, between the 1% in the country who derive 17% of the nation's income. 1% holding 17% of the nation's income, and therefore controlling the wealth. In New York City, far more exacerbated. The top 1% in New York City generating or taking in a full 33% of the income of this city. And not only that, but we have seen over the past decade, where the 99% of us, we have seen gradual, very modest increases in income over the years. But in the last boom period, about the 04 to 07 period, we saw the top 1% have their incomes increase by 65%, whereas everybody else was left behind. We did that report not only to show where we are today, but to show what we have to do to make sure that if there is, and I hope there will be, a period of restored prosperity, that prosperity is shared by everybody, and not just the top 1% or the top earners or the most wealthiest people, whether they be in this city or in this country. That leads to a more productive, that leads to a more efficient economy that works for everybody and not just the top and the most richest people. And it is the only way we're going to get there is if we have people in government, but also have strong partners who represent the people who actually make this country and make this city work. And those are the working men and women and the labor leaders that have for years, for decades. I'm not suggesting that anybody has been in this for that many decades, but it is about making sure that there's a very strong cohesion between government elected officials and labor leaders and the working men and women. Corporations are important, but they're not everything that's important. It is, at the end of the day, about opportunities, economic opportunities for everybody. And so I'm so proud to be in this, I guess, this inaugural ceremony for the first time we're doing this. I look forward to many, many more times when we will recognize the heroes that make our labor movement work. Honored always to be in the presence of a great national leader, our keynote speaker, Lee Saunders. Lee, welcome back to New York City. And he is going to give us a dazzling speech, as he does always. Comptroller DiNapoli and I think I can speak a little bit for Tom because we work so close together. We always learn lots of things when we hear from Lee Saunders. And of course, to see the recognition of people who work hard day in, day out, not only for the benefit of their members, but also for our overall economy, our communities, and indeed our great city of New York. And leading them, of course, is our greatest hero, who is receiving the recognition for lifetime achievement, none other than, I call her Miss Roberts, Lillian Roberts. So once again, congratulations to all the honorees. Thanks for having me, Neil, and keep up the great work. You and LaborPress, you are really helping to change the dialogue that has been so one-sided for so long, and we're really trying to get the facts out there so that the people aren't stupid. They don't believe everything they read, but it always helps to give people a different way to look at things and more real concrete facts, and that's exactly what LaborPress has been doing. In a relatively short period of time, if you think about it, it's made a tremendous impact. So congratulations to you as well, Neil. Keep up the great work. Thanks so much. Enjoy, and congratulations.